Chapter 48, he looked at her coldly, as if she were a stranger, or even an enemy. After who knows how long, he opened his mouth. Are you afraid? If his eyes weren't filled with indifference, Hannah would have thought he was concerned about her. But even though she knew he was probably just asking casually, she couldn't help but nod her head vigorously, tears of grievance falling to the ground, big and small. Harrison's face remained cold, showing no emotion, only saying one sentence. The thing put in the water bottle you drank just now was just vitamins. Hannah, if you don't want to do something to yourself, don't do it to others. Vitamins? She was startled, suddenly realizing that he was still in the room at that time. He was with Serafina, and the reason he left was because the two of them really had something they didn't want others to know. He was looking for someone to humiliate her just because of that Beaumont bitch? She was doubly shocked and indignantly rushed over. You treat me like this because of her? You don't mind turning your back on the Kensington family because of her? You're crazy, what's so good about her? The people around her stopped her from getting close to him, but he signaled with his eyes, and the group dispersed. He took a step forward, approaching her. Half a second ago, she couldn't control her emotions and wanted to rush forward to argue with him, but now she was scared by his cold aura and retreated, not daring to say anything. Hannah, I took the trouble to find you just to tell you something directly. He stood a long distance away from her, his eyes distant, his voice calm. Serafina is the person I protect. His tone was always calm, without any ups and downs, but it exuded a terrifying sense of intimidation and command. Therefore, no matter where she is, I will not allow anyone to harm her. Otherwise, I will definitely let that person know what the word consequences are. Hannah bit her lip, tears still falling. She knew, he was just scaring her. He wouldn't drug her, nor would he tell these people to rape her. With the education he had received over the years, he wouldn't do such a lowly thing to any girl. But, he had never wanted to get involved with women, regardless of whether they were good or bad. This time, he found someone to act out a scene to scare her to the point that she was still shaking like a leaf because of Serafina. She was jealous, resentful, and wanted to go crazy. Her voice was hoarse and desperate. What can you do to me? Are you planning to kill me? He didn't need to think too much about her angry retort. Depending on the situation, his eyes were pitch black without a trace of light. No matter who harmed her, I will make that person pay back 10 or 100 times over. She lowered her head, not saying anything. Who told you to do this? She trembled, but did not show it, desperately resisting. It's me who hates her. Humph, I can only blame myself for being stupid and not doing my job properly. If my brother or my mother had done it, I wouldn't even know where Serafina was right now. He looked at her coldly, pausing for a few minutes. Today is the first time you've failed, I'll let you off for now. However, because I'm worried about your unreasonable personality, he said halfway. What do you mean? She raised her head, tears streaming down her face as she looked at him, only to see the handsome man's expression in front of her seem even colder. He didn't say anything, just turned around and left. Miles walked over, his face scowling, his voice rough. It's hard to guarantee that you won't cause trouble while you're in Macau. We'll send you back to Beijing right now. Of course, before our young master leaves Macau, we'll check every set of entry documents. If we see your name again, please don't blame us for being impolite. She bit her lip almost to the point of bleeding, still unable to utter a word. After a long while her mind went blank, she finally obediently followed Miles. It was already 11 o'clock at night when Harrison returned to the hotel. Seeing the soft light coming from the crack in Serafina's room door, his feet suddenly stopped. He gently walked over, tried to push the door open, but found that the door was unlocked, the light was still on, and she was already asleep. She was lying on her side, her slender body nestled in the soft white blanket. While she was sleeping, her delicate face had a faint melancholy that was not like the carefree and leisurely appearance when she was with him this morning. Instead, it was like she had returned to the past. Although she smiled brightly and confidently, there was always a hint of smoldering sadness. He couldn't help but frown, looked at her intently for a long time, and finally turned off the light and left. The next day when Serafina woke up, it was already 4 in the afternoon. She went into the living room, didn't see Harrison, but there was a note on the dining table. the handwriting was very firm. I'm going to meet a friend, I might be back late tonight, remember to eat something to fill your stomach. Harrison. She put the note away carefully, the beach party would be in the evening, it would be good to have something to eat. She then called the waiter, ate a late lunch while listening to music, and started to quietly calculate in her heart. Hannah and Emily were here, Alex was also in Macau, maybe William would come too. And tonight, the heir to the Blake family, the real estate tycoon in Macau, Logan Blake would be holding a large beach party. Like this, Lily and Vivian might come too. The reason was very simple, if Serafina could keep an eye on Logan Blake, then the others wouldn't be foolish enough to ignore it. After Logan took over the Blake family's land, their real estate business was only given second priority. On the contrary, he was very interested in many potential industries in mainland China, secretly buying up floating shares of companies of different sizes. 8% of the Smith Group's floating shares were in the hands of the Blake family, and they were already considered a major shareholder. But at the same time, the floating shares of the Ashford and Kensington families also showed signs of being bought by them. This showed that they were deliberately expanding their influence and voice in the mainland region. Serafina was worried that if this news was known to others, they might also target the shares in the Blake family's hands and come here to fight for them. She only had 30% of the company's shares in her hands, and it would be best if she could buy them back from the Blake family. Moreover, the sooner she bought them, the less people knew about them. If William, Lily, and Vivian had all arrived, it meant that they also wanted to buy back their company's shares. Furthermore, Logan also had her rival's floating shares in her hands, and the target of the fight this time would be expanded. She had to be quick in everything. She didn't want to rob anything from the Ashford family or the Kensington family for the time being, she just needed to protect the Beaumont family's capital well, and the shares weren't easy to swallow. If she wanted to buy them, they would sell them. For the Blake family to reach the scale they were at today, it definitely wouldn't be easy to sell their shares, but luckily she knew that Logan had a very special hobby. If you want to snatch something from someone, you have to hit their hobby first. She had not had a good appetite lately. She had been sitting at the dining table for nearly an hour and had only managed to eat a few bites of salad. Remembering Harrison's urging her to eat these past few days, she tried to eat a few more bites before going to take a shower. After bathing, she put on the bikini and stood in front of the mirror to admire it. Her current body was still very good, the most outstanding points were her long, straight, smooth and white legs. She smiled, took out a large transparent white silk scarf from the wardrobe, slipped it under her left armpit, and tied a bow on her right shoulder. The beautiful scene under the silk scarf was both hidden and visible. She wondered what kind of feeling Harrison would have if he came to the beach party and saw her wearing a two-piece swimsuit, the sea breeze blowing through the white silk scarf fluttering. She couldn't help but laugh, took off the white scarf, and replaced it with a thin long shirt, although the length could only cover her thighs, but compared to the silk scarf just now, it was much less romantic. She tied her hair back and then went downstairs. Passing through the long corridor in a classic European style, walking to the artificial white sand beach next to the large swimming pool, she was glad that she wasn't wearing that scarf. Because in the sea of strangers, she could easily see Vivian, who had arrived in Macau without knowing when. Vivian wore a red bikini, tied a white silk scarf as thin as a cicada's wing, even the same way she had tied the scarf earlier. With the background music of My Dilemma, Vivian's smile from beginning to end was always gentle and confident, very different from her before. Serafina just discovered that every time she met her, she seemed to change. Vivian was beautiful from head to toe, shining wherever she went, standing out in the crowd was nothing strange, but the surprise was that she was intimately holding hands with a strange man. Her smile was radiant, no matter how you looked at it, it looked like a couple of lovers. That man seemed to be a local, familiar with many people here. She followed him and politely greeted the others. After a few steps, she saw Serafina, said something to the man beside her and walked towards her. In front of Serafina, although Vivian was still smiling, the radiance had faded a bit. Serafina, I didn't expect you to come here too. Serafina changed the subject. It seems you came prepared. She nodded towards the man. If I'm not mistaken, that must be Jaden Blake. Elegant and refined, she greeted most of the people here, except for Logan, the host of the party, only his younger brother Jaden. You really have an eye for people. Vivian half-jokingly complimented, but the smug look on her face could not be hidden. What do you think? How does this man compare to William? I never judge other people's men. Serafina slowly took a sip of champagne, glancing at her. If you continue like this just to compare men with Lily, your life will revolve around her forever. Who is she to compare herself to me? Vivian frowned unhappily. I'm just going my own way, conveniently looking down on her. Your path is, Serafina paused, not holding back, to sleep with Jaden Blake? Vivian's face stiffened, looking at her questioningly, not knowing where she recognized it from. Serafina shrugged. Sorry, I also know some information. He can bring you along. It proves that the two of you have a beneficial relationship, and I heard that he is very lustful, so it is not difficult to guess. However, I should still remind you, it is best for you to escape early. Before coming here, she had studied the preferences and temperaments of the two Blake brothers, and discovered that there were more than one or two scary points. She was really skeptical. How could these two perverted brothers be able to run the Blake family business so well? Hearing the sarcasm mixed in Serafina's words, Vivian's face paled, and she lightly retorted. The rumors outside are just because they think he is too excellent a man. They can't eat grapes, so they think they are green grapes. Serafina curled her lips into a smile, not commenting further. Vivian snorted again. Even if it's true, what does it matter? You said he took advantage of me. How do you know I didn't take advantage of him? I've discovered that men are for taking advantage of. How do you know that the one who benefits in the end isn't me? Serafina nodded, showing her agreement. Yeah, that's right, you're this beautiful. It would be a waste not to use you to take advantage of men. Vivian frowned. It seemed like she was mocking her, but she spoke without hesitation, and it sounded very sincere. But she was used to it, and asked comfortably, You're this beautiful, why don't you have a boyfriend yet? Maybe you should change your personality. Serafina originally wanted to retort, but she was too lazy, so she just laughed it off. Vivian saw that she didn't show any expression. She was really annoyed, but on the surface she smiled and said, You don't need to worry, Jaden and I both benefit, and this idea is all thanks to you. Serafina raised her head. Me? Didn't you tell me that Lily likes to steal things the most, especially steal other people's boyfriends? And Jaden is even better than William. As for Jaden, as long as it's a decent-looking woman, he'll pay attention to them all. Serafina's raised eyebrows relaxed again. Vivian wanted to pair Jaden and Lily together? To be exact, she wanted him to play with Lily? In order to get revenge on Lily, she put herself together with him. Is she crazy? After Vivian finished speaking, she felt that Serafina's reaction wasn't very enthusiastic. She frowned. You really don't care? Lily is also your enemy. Serafina picked at her nails and said lightly, But I prefer to stand aside and watch you guys act. Vivian didn't say anything, glared at her. Then laughed. That's right, let me tell you this. Hannah tried to drug you, but the pill was switched by Lily, so that despicable couple slept together. This time Mia was pissed off by Lily. Serafina was stunned, completely not expecting this to happen. So, Harrison really saw Hannah's shady actions, but he secretly handled it for her. She hadn't seen Hannah since then. Could it be that he did something? Her heart was filled with 100 thoughts, not knowing what emotions they were. She had a strange sense of security. Having someone quietly clean up after her was an extremely comfortable thing. But she also felt scared, afraid that if he silently protected her from behind, she would gradually lose her sense of danger. One day he would leave, she would lose her sense of safety, and when she got hurt, it would be even more miserable. She absent-mindedly said, Didn't you say Mia wanted to take advantage of you too? It seems that neither Lily nor you trust Mia. And you were also provoked by this matter, so you wanted to borrow Jaden's hand to separate William and Lily? Vivian smiled, not answering, but in her heart she was thinking, Lily wanted to compare herself to her? It was just a temporary stroke of luck. As for William, she would definitely take him back. Lily and William's relationship didn't make her too upset. On the contrary, she was both happy and excited. After all, what could be more enjoyable than taking away something someone else thought they had firmly in their hands? Lily had spent so much effort on William, when she lost it, it would definitely be even more painful. While she was thinking, their figures suddenly appeared in her sight. William was shirtless, wearing blue shorts, while Lily was wearing a red bikini that looked exactly like the one she was wearing, completely uncovered. Lily stuck to William like glue, deliberately pulling him towards Vivian, her face full of boasting and pride. She had also told Vivian about the drugging, just to let her see how capable she was. But she couldn't see any pain on Vivian's face. She only glanced at the two of them by accident, and even held Jaden's arm and left before they even arrived. Jaden kept turning his head to smile at Vivian. The smile on Lily's face instantly froze. Didn't Vivian like William very much? Why did she seduce the young master of the Blake family, the host of this party? Even William was surprised when he saw Vivian, a girl who had been chasing him for years. Not long ago she said she liked him, but in just a few short days she had become a sweet and intimate couple with another guy. He looked at Vivian a few more times, the white silk on her body fluttered, the scenery inside was hidden and revealed. This feeling of indifference was more attractive than the one that revealed everything like Lily. Serafina took in both of their expressions, thinking to herself that tonight there would definitely be a good show to watch. She smiled and turned to go to a small makeshift casino at the corner of the sandbank. Andrew sat in front of the gambling table, calmly rolling the dice and placing bets, while Emma was like a hamster holding a pile of casino chips, smiling happily. She had heard Harrison say that Andrew was a master of gambling, no matter if it was a childish game of dividing points or a type of gambling that required thinking, there was nothing he couldn't win. She glanced at Emma and smiled at her. Calm down. Everyone thinks you and your husband are a casino couple, making a living from this profession. It's okay, you have to laugh out loud when you're happy. Serafina, I'll use the money I earned to buy you something delicious later. She pinched Emma's cheeks, glared at her, and then went out. As soon as she went out, she saw William and Lily sitting at the table next to her, seemingly talking to the dealer. She had no interest in watching them gamble, but after only a few steps, she heard Vivian's laughter. William, I've come to challenge you, do you dare to accept?